Welcome back. Okay, question. Have you ever heard of Hoover-Ball? Well, if you haven't, picture a regulation volleyball court, but instead of the usual bump, set, spike, you can actually play catch and throw with a 4 or 6 pound medicine ball. Now, the nonprofit Hoover-Ball Southwest is going to be holding their inaugural tournament. That's for the sport later on this next month. Now, joining us this morning, talking more about this tournament and how the proceeds are going to be spent, we're joined this morning by Donald Johnson from the Southwest Hoover-Ball organization. So, Don, it is great to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, and it's a question on everybody's mind, and my first question posed to him off air, what's Hoover-Ball?
So, Hoover-Ball is a sport that was created for President Hoover when he was in office by his physician, Admiral T. Boone. And the intent was to keep him in some sort of fitness while he was, running the country.
Mm-hmm. Who knew Hoover was a kind of a fitness buff kind of guy?
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Okay.
But that every morning at 8 o'clock, they would have actually a lot of the cabinet members would go out to the East Lawn and they would actually play. There was a court that was always set up there and they would go out there and play almost every morning. Fascinating.
And even for yourself, like you were saying, I mean, you came to know of it through some students at school, right?
Correct, yes. So I'm a retired Marine, and I'm a high school teacher at El Dorado for the Marine Corps JROTC program. And our student senate does the announcements every morning. Back in 2017, one of the senators would always give an interesting fact of the day as a closing for the announcements. And the interesting fact of that day was, did you know that President Hoover is the only president to have a sport named after him? I kind of scratched my head and looked kind of precariously at the wall. I was like, what? So did some Googling and pulled it up, and I was like, I can definitely incorporate this into our PT program for the kids at school. And since then, we've been playing.
Challenging to play it? I mean, can anybody take it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, so again, it's a 4-pound ball, which is usually used for the females. A 6-pound ball is used for the males. It's a regulation volleyball court, 60 by 30. So each side is 30-30. There's a midline that we have. So there's a front court and a back court.
Okay.
That applies to the male game only, not the females. Females are allowed to pass, males are not.
Okay.
But like I was saying, we've been playing it at El Dorado since 2017. I posed it to the rest of the JROTC instructors in the metro area. And we've actually have a New Mexico State JROTC tournament that I host at El Dorado every year as well. And we've been doing that for 4 years.
There you go. So the tournament again, and some proceeds raised by it. Let's kind of talk about how that's going to be going on again this year.
So just started this beginning of the year. I wanted to start it back in March of 2020. I sat down with I guess kind of a mentor of mine to figure out how I can get things going, and then obviously a week later everything got shut down. But I finally, beginning this year, put in the paperwork, created the nonprofit through the state, Southwest Hoover-Ball. And again, our intention is to host an annual Hoover-Ball tournament with the proceeds being donated to a first responder or military support organization.
That is incredible.
Our first tournament is June 15th at the New Mexico Veterans Memorial. Games start at 8 o'clock. And this year's initial donation is going to be given to the 100 Club of New Mexico.
Okay. And you selected them again, based on their first responder kind of ties with
Correct.
them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So right now, for anybody wanting to play and get signed up, have a team, how much familiarity do they need to play Hoover-Ball before hitting the court?
Not much.
Okay.
So how our tournament is set up, there's a national tournament in Iowa that's held every year as well. So I kind of mirror what they do. Just for the teams that are not as familiar. So we'll have, again, games start at 0-8. We'll have, depending on the number of teams, we'll have round robin play for all the male teams and the female teams. So the more teams there are, the more games that you play before the actual tournament starts. All right. And then all those round robin games will place you in the tournament bracket.
Okay.
And then that dictates how you go from there. Yes, sir.
All right. Don, where can we find more information online?
Website, southwesthooverball.com. There's also Instagram that is very seldom updated because I'm not that techie, which is at Southwest Hoover-Ball as well. On the website, there's rules, the history. If you want to know a little bit more, there's an events page where you can register.
Perfect.
The New Mexico tournament the JROTC tournament that we had last month, There's pictures and videos on the website as well, so you can go in there and see the game played a little bit live action.
There you go.
As well.
Making it happen. Donald, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Sir, thank you very much, David.
Absolutely.